you cannot limit the possibility of Buddha into this, that, 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, when we go formality way, then again there is one especially Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Also, probably there are other Buddhist traditions also who regard this story or this notion of 1,000 Buddhas of this era or Aeon, we call it Aeon. So in Buddhist version, Tibetan Buddhist version, we have Aeon and we can say ultra Aeon or multi Aeon, and that multi Aeon is supposed to consist of 1,000 Aeons. 1,000 Aeons is equal to one multi Aeon, and then in that multi Aeon, this multi Aeon is also supposed to be one of those which has 1,000 Aeons, and is also called a golden multi Aeon in Tibetan language. So this multi Aeon, there are already including Gautam Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha, he was the number 4. So there are already previously 3 Buddhas who have been to the mundane world and liberated other sentient beings, and also represented as one Buddha of one Aeon. And the Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha, he was the 4th, and he was supposed to have been in this earth, in human world, when the lifespan of human was 100 years. And so that's why after 2600 years now, is we can consider it's 100 years human life, but if we go very calculatively, then maybe it's like 60-70 years now. The human life is almost like 60 to 70 years now. And to speak about Maitreya, so he's supposed to be the 5th Buddha, and he's called Maitreya Buddha. And to distinguish between these Buddhas, between Siddhartha Buddha and between Maitreya Buddha, you have to consider their position, which we call mudra. So you can see the Siddhartha Buddha's pose mostly with this one, especially Tibetan Buddhist pictures are like this. The right hand is onto the right knee, and left hand is on the lap. And also some other version is also like Buddha has the right hand into straight off the heart, and second left hand is on the same place. But Maitreya Buddha also the Siddhartha Buddha's pictures and statues are mostly cross-legged, but Maitreya Buddhas are like standing, not completely standing, but seated like this. His foot is on the ground, he is seated on some throne, and hand is something like this or this. His both hands are open. So that's how we distinguish the image of Maitreya Buddha, and he is the next Buddha to come according to Tibetan Buddhist version.
But there is a very precise meaning of the hand, and the Buddha is touching the earth.
There are lots of mudras. It's called mudras. We can call it gestures. It's like spiritual gestures, and those gestures have lots of meaning. And I should say that I'm not so good with those gesture mudras.
Okay, but so what? When the next Buddha will arrive, we have. I think there is like not precise, but something like
there is
prevision of his arriving.
Yeah, we call it when the Aeon is changing. The Aeon is changing when the lifespan becomes minimum or maximum.
What is that?
Like we call it this time in Nepal and India, they call it Kali Yuga. Is like degenerated time. like the papers or materials we do in the industry, it gets recycled, and the recycled things are not that organic and good. So we can also see our grandfathers have this, they have organic body, organic mentality, everything was organic. Now we have become like a broiler chickens. We are too much recycled. And the whole environment, whole society around is also recycled. And that's why everything is not as organic as it is. And it's called degenerated time. So, and as it gets degenerated, the lifespan is also going shorter and shorter and shorter. And we can see within 2600 years ago, like Buddha was supposed to be like at the time where human live easily 100 years. Now only few people live 100 years, and like they get like appreciated by everybody around them, like, oh, you have 100 years of age. And it will continue as the version says, so it will continue up to 10 years. And people, even the human size will be very small, That's why nowadays, as the time is degenerating, we want everything small and short. Like for instance, I'm sports lover also. So like football is same, but there is cricket. You know cricket?
Yes.
So cricket had this 5-day test match. They play for 5 days. And then they brought a 1-day match, which has 50 overs, which they won whole day. And after that, they brought 20-20 match. That means 20 overs, which is only 3 hours match. And they have also brought 5 overs match. So not only that, like Buddhist scholars used to study and meditate for so long in ancient times. Now people want everything in formality only, and only very short. So can you give me short advice? So why do you need short advice? You can have full advice. But like our nature has become like that. Everything wants short and small. So that's why how the time also keeps degenerating, and it will reach 10 years of age. And there is also kind of story where firstly the emanation or the emanation of Maitri Buddha will arrive, and he will teach some dharma, and people will start to realize that we are not going according to the dharma. That's why it's degenerating. So when they realize all the teachings, and they start to again generate everything, and then I think it was, I'm not sure with this, but I think when again the life of the human will reach 10,000, then the Maitri Buddha will arrive. That's, I think, how the story says.
Okay. So if I understand, we are going to like a
degenerated time.
Yes, and there is a point before to go up.
Yeah.
This point, Maitreya Buddha will come.
Yeah.
And okay, and this is like a cycle like that.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's also like what they call forex chart. You know forex chart? There's this economy business with dollar against pound, and this. So it goes down like this. This
is interesting. And but is there in Buddhism vision, is there it will have an end of the existence of universe to born again? Is there a vision like that? I think there is, but in Buddhism, do you believe at the end of the cycle, because everything is going born and die and born and die, so why not the universe himself?
I can surely say that the mission of Buddhism is to get the end of the existence, because existence means suffering, it's samsara. But will it end, or how it ends, is almost unexplainable according to the philosophical point. But again, there are maybe some sort of stories which I have heard. I haven't read, but I have heard. And it's like when it will end, then like it's almost like other religion stories also, like whole planets and all the system, whole solar system, everybody like get explored.
I'm sorry, my battery. I have another battery, but I have to change. Sorry. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, and also like we cannot trace the beginning and the end of the existence, but the explanation of how it began, and how it ends is kind of it happened out of nowhere, like the Big Bang theory. It only came out of emptiness. There was emptiness, and there was Big Bang, and it happened. I think, although Buddhist philosophy doesn't say like that, but it hints like that. It's kind of hints like that. And the end also, like it's kind of destruction and explosion, and also it said like the seventh sun will appear. There will not only be one sun, and seventh sun will have too much heat, too much fire, which will burn everything, and everything will go into the emptiness. So that's how it is probably explained, and also that's how it's a little bit easy to understand.
Yeah, this is like picture. We can imagine the picture of that. Yes. In these books, Dalai Lama said about Big Bang theory.
Yeah, Big Bang theory.
What you said. If you believe that Big Bang theory is the beginning of universe, you will believe that, okay, so if this is the beginning, it means that there is a creator. I mean, this is like a creation. But if we believe that before this Big Bang there is so many Big Bangs in a cycle, so it means that this is like Buddhism vision, there is a cycle again. I mean, Big Bang is not the beginning of life, but because we don't know what's happened before Big Bang.
Yeah, I think we should not torture ourselves mentally by again going beyond that destruction, and again the possibility of another Big Bang. But as everybody realized the enlightenment, and then probably, possibly, no Big Bang will happen. Yeah, and also what I was thinking of something, I forgot it. Okay, you can continue the question.
Yes. I will just get 1 second to save it. Okay, maybe now one question. I was some question, but the God also. Maybe okay. I will ask you about that. Okay, there is a very important figure in Buddhism. This is Guru Rinpoche, Padasambhava, something like that. And I don't really understand who is this, because he's also like a true human before to become a god, a kind of spirit, you know. I know there is a story, but this guy exists.
So you want to know about Guru Padmasambhava?
Yes, who is it, and why is he so famous?
Yeah,
important.
What is his significance?
Yes.
Yeah, and before that, I just remembered about the earlier answer, and I was trying to relate all the beginning and the ending of the existence with our dreams. So our dreams also happen out of nowhere. When we are in the dream, everything is real. We feel it's real, right?
Yes.
When you have like somebody like spears the knife into you in your dream, and have you realized like when you wake up immediately, you have the pain in your hand? I have realized that many times. Anyways, so everything is real. We feel it very real. The reality, the realness of that pain and that happiness is still there when we are already awakened, little bit.
Okay.
So the dream also happens out of nowhere. We sleep, our body becomes useless, and now we are again exploring into the new world. And again, when we wake up, it goes into happiness. There's nothing in like dream in that. And to talk about Padmasambhava, there is his kind of role or destiny kind of thing, because when Buddha arrived in the world, and he taught us the Dharma, means truth, or the true way. He showed us the way, and also he realized the ultimate truth when he became Buddha. But also, is almost every version of story says that he did not want to teach immediately after he became Buddha. He went into the forest and stayed there for 7 weeks. And before going, he said, I have found or discovered a truth or the teaching which is the wisdom, like a nectar. This wisdom teaching is like a nectar, but when I see into the people, I see nobody who can understand these teachings. So what is the point of me becoming Buddha? So I would rather go to the forest and keep silent. And also it's said that after like gods from the god realms, serpent gods from the snake world or something, and like beings from all the realms went to Buddha and requested him to teach. And also this was needed because there is this kind of tradition in Buddhism where if you need a teaching, you have to request first, and that teaching is beneficial for you. And I think it's not like that nowadays. Like teacher organizes the event and people come, and I think teaching does not benefit them that much. So firstly, student has to request. Student has to show the enthusiasm that I want to learn, I want to understand. So anyway, like at that time, people were not able to understand. There was no people who could be able to understand the higher level of teaching. And Buddha only taught like an ordinary level of basic teachings. Also, he gave the higher level teachings to very few with very less formality. And that's why the other two Dharma Chakra, or the establishment of other two Dharma will, also denied by some schools of Buddhism because it was too much informal. So, and according to our Tibetan Buddhist tradition, so people were not ready at that time to understand, but Buddha had cultivated the teaching into people's mind at that time, and people started practicing Buddhism, started learning Buddhism, and not long after, very soon, Guru Padmasambhava or Guru Rinpoche also arrived, and it was the time when he arrived, when people, there were lots of people who were able to understand the high level teachings. And according to our Tibetan Buddhism, the high level teaching is Mahayana, and even more than Mahayana, it is Vajrayana or Tantrayana teachings. Especially the Nyingmapa are supposed to be the preserver of the highest level of teachings, who are supposed to have preserved the high level teachings. And also Guru Rinpoche is supposed to be the founder of Nyingmapa in some version. And also, like regarding his human being, or he's also supposed to be the incarnation of Buddha himself, Siddhartha Buddha himself, but the another one who could carry on the journey. Like Buddha was one who cultivated the seed. Now Guru Rinpoche was who needed to groom the teachings, groom the people with the high level teachings. And also because of that, Buddha was one who kind of appeared as a normal human being. He born into a queen's womb, but human's womb. But when we consider Guru Rinpoche, he isn't born in the human's womb. He's supposed to be born from the lotus flower, big lotus flower. That's why he's also one of his names, synonym names is lotus born. He's not also known as lotus born. And also, when he departed from our human mundane world, he also is not supposed to have died like the way we die. So he is supposed to have just departed the same body. He was here, so he departed with the same body, because it was kind of a divine body. And he's also supposed to have went to some demon realm to teach dharma to the demons, because they also say this story, like if Guru Rinpoche does not teach those demons the teachings, in the future they will soon come to the human realm and they will bring the chaos.
You don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So I think like there's lots of detail about Guru Rinpoche.
Yes. Yeah. And there is not so many, but there is many god and goddesses in Buddhism.
Yeah.
Like him and Avalokitesvara and Tara and so many others, I think.
Yeah.
And all these gods and goddesses have been arriving or created after Buddha for Buddhism. This is right?
What?
All these gods have been created or
By human.
Yeah, by human after Buddha's teaching, or this is Buddha himself who I don't know. He is the first. I mean, the first original.
When we consider in a traditional way, they were always there. They were always there. But when we go with in a scientific way and very practical way, we can also see the probability of maybe after Buddha happened, Buddha gave the teachings, and Buddhism went to Tibet, and also to other Asian countries like Japan, China, Taiwan, Thailand. So there we can see like some of the deities or gods, as you say, might be kind of created by the human or followers. But still, like the compassionate one, he is there in the teachings of Buddha. It's not like it was made later. And Guru Padmasambhava, he came very soon after Buddha passed away. But Buddha also has supposed to be foretold about him that this miraculous being will come after I pass away, and he will extend the teaching I have established. So most of the Buddhas and the deities are always there. And when you are talking about the deities and the gods in Tibetan Buddhism, you need to understand it's not like the creator God. The God or the deity is like who is Buddha or Bodhisattva. Buddha is like realized one, enlightened one. Bodhisattva is compassionate being who is like full of compassion, but he's yet to become enlightened. And there is ordinary deity or ordinary. You can call them ordinary or you can call them mundane. So ordinary deity or ordinary God is also, we call them oracles also. So they are just normal sentient beings like us, but they are only, number one, they are invisible by us. We cannot visualize them or see them. And number two, they are powerful. And they can be kind, they can be cruel. So that's why, like in the beginning teaching of Buddhism, the teaching also says like we do not take refuge or worship especially not take refuge in the ordinary gods, ordinary deities, because they haven't controlled their own mind. When you haven't controlled your own mind, then you cannot be fully compassionate, and you cannot also not become a Buddha.
But the God, the ordinary God, this is the same gods who are in the God's realm.
We can consider almost like that, yeah, God realm or something. Who tries to help or destroy us also. And main thing is they have desire. They have this. They haven't realized the selflessness. So when you praise them, like there are so many prayers of gods and deities in Buddhism and Hinduism both, and in both prayers you have to praise them a lot. You are so powerful, you are so good, you are so that. And when you praise him or her, and that deity will get happy. And when you don't praise him or her, when you don't offer him good food or something, then those deities don't get disappointed. And some even harm you because you don't keep praying him, you don't keep praising him or offering him something.
This is a bit strange because how could they have an influence on us? I mean, on the karma, on the something like that?
And they cannot have influence on our karma, but they can guide us. In Tibetan Buddhism, there